The next big thing that happens in early republic has to do with Chief Justice John Marshall and a landmark court case. So that's what we're going to focus on today. If you've noticed, you have um, completed a lot about Washington. Then we talked about, it really wasn't much about John Adams as much as um, him being a part of him and Congress passing the Alien and Sedition Acts, which were completely unconstitutional, so against the Bill of Rights, and they will be reversed. They will go away. Um, this next thing partly happens during John Adams' presidency, but kind of goes across American history through decades and decades. So, like I said again, and I always say, we don't learn by president because some events that happen in American history are bigger than the president themselves. We focus on the event, the issue, not the president. So today is John Marshall and landmark court cases. So here we go. Back down. I have to scroll a lot now. Again, this day really excites me. You probably can't tell when I'm not there. Let's see. Here we are. This is going to be the most tested topic of this whole era. Did you hear that? Most tested topic. So, we have a brain drain that goes with it, and let's just say most of the 90% of the questions are very easy. As long as you know your brain drain, you'll be awesome. Okay, here we go. What first is a landmark? So I want you to take 30 seconds with the person next to you, and I want y'all to see if you can name what these places are. Go. Okay. So this is like called Mount Rushmore. You have the Statue of Liberty, the Hollywood sign. That is the Grand Canyon, and then I have to throw in Buc-ee's. You know, if you're from Texas, you know Buc-ee's. Um, so what is a landmark? Because a lot of y'all knew where these places are. We're going to create a definition for the word landmark. Um, so a landmark is a familiar place or area that everyone knows about. Maybe you have a better definition than one of those. But it's something that's familiar to us that most people know. So, a landmark, if I was telling you where I live, I wouldn't tell you that I just live by HEB. Well, there's two HEBs. I might tell you I live by the HEB that's next to a Kroger and next to a Raising Cane's in Leak City. And I've named a couple landmarks so you can put those together and you kind of start to figure out where I live. So a landmark is something that's familiar to most people. Well, we are going to be talking about court cases, people going into a court. So a landmark court case are going to be court cases that most people know of. Now, I'm going to tell you if you are ever involved and want to be an attorney, a lawyer, you would know all the landmark cases because it's a really, really big deal. So here we go. There is a particular court case you're going to learn about today that's so famous it's your most tested one that there is. So here's what you're going to do. If you're on the right-hand side, you're taking the first paragraph, and y'all better be reading out loud because it is to help you. It's okay to not know a word or to ask somebody what that one is or skip over it. Who cares? But reading out loud, we know helps us so much. Okay, so the person on the right is going to read this one, the left, and then the right. If there's three of you, then just 1, 2, 3. All right. And then after that, you're going to finish this sentence. So these are the sentences you're trying to finish. John Marshall was significant or important because he was the what? John Marshall had Federalist or anti-Federalist views because. So you'll circle one of those and write because. Now remember, a Federalist likes strong federal power and anti-Federalist is against it. All right, so your teacher will pause the video now. It'll probably take about 4 minutes. Go. Okay, so you should have John Marshall was significant because he was the what? And you probably put the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court. Now, do y'all remember when we draw our tree, how we write Chief Justice, Judges, Supreme Court? A Chief Justice is the head judge of all the judges on the Supreme Court. So I could show you, let me show you now. Current Supreme Court justices. So you can go to supremecourt.gov and here they are. So it's no longer John Marshall. Your Chief Justice is John Roberts. This is him right here. And then these are all the other judges. Clarence Thomas, Stephen Breyer, goes on and on. They are. And then retired. Now they either retire or they die. She's new because somebody died. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then a Chief Justice. Okay, and that just tells you about them. We don't have time for that. Alrighty. So John Marshall was significant because he was the Chief Justice. It also says he was the Chief Justice for 34 years. So he was the Chief Justice under Jefferson, Madison, Monroe, Jackson. So that's what I was trying to say. We're really focused on him. We're not focused on that particular president. We're going to be actually focusing on partly John Marshall. In 34 years as Chief Justice, he went through a lot of presidents and was very involved, obviously, in a lot of court cases. So based on what you read, is he a Federalist or an anti-Federalist? So is he for a strong central government or against a strong central government? Well, he is, it says, although Jefferson and Marshall were actually distant cousins, they agreed very rarely. For example, Marshall believed the federal government should be stronger than the states. That is a Federalist. A Federalist thinks states should be stronger than the federal government. Remember, these two guys are opposites. You all know that. So he would be a Federalist because he believes the federal government should be stronger. Easy peasy. Okay. Here's what you're going to do. Here are 3 court cases, and I'm going to tell you this right now. I hope you're paying attention. This is the one that is the most tested. This is probably the 4th most tested thing on the STAR test, right here, this court case. But guess what is going to be great? To memorize this is easy because the court case, the details of it mean nothing to us. Yay, they mean absolutely nothing. Then you're going to hear about you're going to read about Gibbons versus Ogden and McCulloch versus Maryland. Here's how you fill in this chart. Marbury versus Madison. Who was involved? Okay. So after I read my paper, I'm just seeing the people involved, or it could be a state. People, state, group, who's involved. List that here. What was the issue goes in the second part. Okay. So this is the what was the issue. Paperwork. I already filled it in for you. You're going to read some other details. We could care less the details of the court case. That's not why it's important. Each of these court cases made the federal government stronger. Don't forget that the judicial branch is it's one of the trees. It is part of the federal government. Just like the executive branch, the president, Congress, they're all on our tree. So if you make part of one of those groups stronger, you've made the whole tree stronger. So the decision right now, I need all of y'all to write strengthen. I need all of y'all to write strengthen right here. Spell it right. Strengthened should be strengthened. I don't know. the federal government by. So strengthen needs to be written after decision on each of those. Delete that. Okay. So the decision strengthen the federal government by. The decision strengthen the federal government by. The decision strengthen the federal government by. It's like I'm telling you, that's the whole reason we're even learning about these court cases. I'm just FYI, it doesn't matter what the details are. The point of these is it strengthens the federal government, but you have to tell me why. So for Marbury versus Madison, tell me who's involved. What's the issue? Paperwork. The decision strengthened the federal government by. Your answers are down here. Did you hear me? Your answers are down here. Categorize them in the right spot. Gibbons versus Ogden. Who's involved? What states or who? What groups? And then what was the issue goes under the dotted lines. So what are they arguing about? This one was paperwork. This one in 1 or 2 words. What are they arguing about? And then how did the decision strengthen the federal government? And it strengthened it by, and the answer is down here. So this part, the answer is down here. So again, who was involved goes on the top of the dotted line. What was the issue goes below the dotted line. Your answer for this is down here. You got it? And then you're going to answer number 1 and 2. Before John Marshall was Chief Justice, the judicial branch was weak or strong. Tell me one of them. After John Marshall's decisions, the judicial branch was weak or strong. Tell me one. Okay? Can you all handle that? Work together. Don't sit and be confused. Ask someone because they heard what I just said. So what you're going to have to do first, you're going to be absolutely have no knowledge until you read these. So work with a group, work with a partner, and figure out how you're going to complete this chart. This is huge. It will be graded for sure without a doubt. Okay. So this has to be completed. We will not do, we'll do this part tomorrow. So you must finish this chart and fill these 2 things in. Okay, so this should take you probably 10 to 15 minutes. So the teacher can now, I'm actually not teaching you the brain drain today, but John Marshall has something to do with it. I'm actually teaching you the brain drain tomorrow. That was my mistake. Okay, all right, all done when your chart is done.